Assalamu alaikum. I'm glad to be here because this is a program focused on education, right? We know that for any individual, for any community, or any society to advance, the key factor is education, right? Before going into the details, Zohaib Bhai asked me to share my personal details. I'll not share too many, but I can just tell you that my grandmother was a teacher, my mother was a teacher, and my wife is a teacher, right? So I come from a family of teachers, and I have great respect for them. Now, we said for any society to advance, education is the key, right? Is this borne out by history? I will say yes, right? Since many of you are from the Muslim community, I will just take some brief topics from the Muslim history or Islamic history. Today, for higher education, we go to Oxford and Harvard, right? These are considered the pinnacle of the repositories of knowledge today. From the 8th century to the 14th century, do you know where people traveled? How many of you know that? People traveled to Baghdad and Cordoba. These were the centers of learning of those times. Even people from Europe sent their wards to these two centers of learning. And if you notice throughout history, knowledge, education, and power have gone hand in hand. And if you notice, from the 8th to the 14th century, the dominant power of the world was centered around these regions in the Islamic world. Now, is this an accident of history? Right? No. Because our religion, Islam, places a great emphasis on education. Of course, we all know the very first ayat of the Quran that was revealed was Islamic Rabbika, right? Recite in the name of the Lord. And our Prophet had said, Iqra bismi rabbika, sorry. And our Prophet had said that if you had to go to China also to acquire knowledge, you can do that. Apart from this, every Muslim was supposed to learn the Quran, right? Now, this was a great departure from the tradition of those times. Generally, during those times, there was a small clergy which was supposed to know the religious text and interpret that to the rest of the people. Islam was the first religion which said everyone has to study the Quran, right? And when the Quran was committed to writing, everyone had to read it. What did this result in? That every person in these lands became literate. This was the democratization of education that Islam brought about. And that is why it became powerful and it spread to far and wide. One was this, that everyone became literate. The other was the openness to ideas. I'll just take one brief incident from the Battle of the Trench, right? Jang-e-Khandaq, they say, right? Many of you probably know that there was this powerful army of Confederates of almost 10,000 that was marching towards Medina to attack the Prophet and his followers. The Muslims were a small community at that time. They did not have enough people, right? They could not face this huge army. Salman Farsi was a companion of the Prophet at that time. He gives the idea that a trench should be built around Medina between two hillocks so that the invading army and its horses cannot cross the trench and attack Medina. Now this was a new idea for that region, for Arabia. No one had heard of a trench being built at that time. Since Salman Farsi was from a region, Persian-speaking regions, right? He had seen this practice there and advised the Prophet and his followers to do this. Just because it was from a foreign land, the Prophet did not reject the idea. He welcomed the idea and he and his followers started digging the trench. And this is what saved them at the end. The army that camped outside the trench for several weeks and then had to return without success. We can contrast this with a few hundred years later. The period from the 8th to the 14th century is considered as the golden period of Islam. And in the 1400s, we have the Ottoman Empire, which is one of the biggest empires of all time, right? But during the same period, Europe was going through a renaissance. There are a lot of new ideas in art, literature, and science coming up, right? There were new inventions. And it was during this period, in 1440, that in a German town called Gutenberg, the first printing press was invented, right? Till that time, books had to be copied by hand. And you can imagine how laborious a process this is, right? The printing industry or the printing press revolutionized the spread of knowledge and learning, right? Thousands of books, hundreds or thousands of books could be printed and distributed in a short period, while earlier it took years for a person to just write down one book, copy one book. Unfortunately, the Ottoman Empire did not welcome this. The chief imam of that time passed a fatwa in 1483 saying that the use of printing press by Muslims was haram, right? For 250 years, the Muslim regions were deprived of the use of the printing press. And you can see that it was during this period that Europe progressed in leaps and bounds. and the Muslims lost their influence and power over a period of time. Right? It came to the point till the Ottoman Empire was called the sick man of Europe. What you have to see here is the contrast in the openness to new ideas. The Prophet had at his time, and the later followers had, in their time. And this is what distinguishes the two. And this is what decides whether a society can progress or not. If you close yourself to new ideas, you stop your own progress. Right? I don't want to drag this too long. I'm very happy that you're here as teachers. If we have to be good citizens of this society, good citizens of our country, we have to ensure that our children get educated. It is only when they become doctors, engineers, scientists, not only they can go forward in their journey, but the society and country can go forward in its journey. We see a great improvement in the literacy rate in India. Unfortunately, the Muslim community is lagging behind. And I believe, coming from a family of teachers, that teaching should not just be a profession, it should be your passion. I mean, my wife, like I said, is a teacher. She's also involved in the administration of her college. She sometimes tells me that some of the senior teachers, they do not go to the class, but sit and read the Quran. Honestly, this is something I cannot understand. Each has its own place, but if you do not do your duty, you're not being sincere to the profession you're doing or to the faith that you practice. I hope you get great benefit from this program that is going on, and you can pass it on to your students. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Like he rightly said, that if we have to develop the nation, the students, the generation that we have has to be empowered with education. Request Mr. Azif Khan to please come on stage to do the honors to our chief guest. He is part of the Learning Point Foundation. Jazakallah khair, sir, for accepting our request, being present here for the entire half day, and this over as well.